Hello everybody. To be honest, I'm quite pissed off because this is the second time I'm making this video. I think I recorded a great video like the first time, and then I was looking at this new camera and then I just erased it. I erased this video. It was like, I'm not in the mood to make it again, but I thought, okay, I have everything planned in my head, I have everything here ready, and that's why I'm going to make it again, but no music, nothing. Fuck it. Anyway. I'm going to dissect a compilation again, a compilation album, and this time it's going to be Warfare Noise from 1986. This came out on the label Cogumelo from Brazil, and this came out actually in August in 1986. You know, many years ago, but also for sure it was warm back in 86 too, because today it's like amazing warm. And here you will find 4 bands, and in total 8 songs, 2 songs each band. And these bands, they were very much influenced by Sepultura, because this came out in 86, and the songs you can find here by CHAKAL, MUTILATOR, SARCOFAGO and HOLOCAUSTO were from the demos by these bands. And these bands start releasing records from 87 on. But these are the very first early songs by these bands. And of course here they sounded still very primitive, you know. And they sounded actually very much like the first Sepultura mini LP, Bestial Devastation. You know, that type of dead thrash. I mean CHAKAL maybe a little less, but SARCOFAGO and MUTILATOR and HOLOCAUSTO sounded quite a lot like this EP. And this is the original release from 85. Again on Cogumelo Records, with Overdose on the other side. You see, on one side, as you can see, on one side you got Overdose, and the other side you have Sepultura. See, and this is the original release. Everything I'm going to show you actually is original. There's no re-releases. Only one, I think one of them is, but the rest is not. See, this is a nice inlay, and here you can see Sepultura death metal. You see? And this, of course, was re-released, this Sepultura, some years later, on this edition on Morbid Vision. See, it included also the Bestial Devastation EP. Anyway, this video is not about Sepultura, of course, it's about dissecting Warfare Noise, and let's start with Mutilator. The Immortal Force record, they released it later, 1 year later after this compilation, and then later they released this one. And this is again a more American sounding thrash metal records, because what happened with a lot of these bands is that in the early 80s these bands started recording in better studios, especially some of them went to the United States, because when Sepultura became more and more famous, all these bands followed the path of Sepultura. And for example, HOLOCAUSTO or CHAKAL, later on they start releasing more commercial, I mean in brackets, not really commercial, but more commercial type of, less primitive thrash death. You know, they changed their style more into thrash metal. That happened with CHAKAL, for example, that are on this compilation with 2 great songs. They first released this one, Abominable Anno Domini, in 87, again on Cogumelo Records, quite a famous label from Brazil, especially in the 80s. And then later on they released this one. And this one is again more American sounding album. See? Just they want to be more and more famous. Same thing happened with Corsus. The first record is very aggressive, of Brazil, Corsus. And later they changed also the style. Okay, the third band I want to show you was HOLOCAUSTO. See? And they were a strange band because they also used the Nazi image. You see here. And they also have, for example, swastikas on their arms and on t-shirts. But the same thing Sepultura did back in the mid-80s. They also had this Nazi look, you know, like they used image from Nazis, like swastikas. Maybe it was in the fashion back in those days, I don't know. And this is Campo de Exterminio, extermination camp. And then the last one that's on this compilation is Sepultura, Sarcofago, sorry. Satanic Lust demo. And like I said before, the demos by these bands appeared later on this compilation. But for example, the 2 songs that are on here of Sarcofago came from this demo. Satanas and The Black Vomit. This is a demo from '86. And of course here we have their debut album, Inlay, Rotting, and The Laws of Scores. This is a great record, and I really like this photo. I always like this band photo. You see? Looks quite like Morbid Angel did back then too. So it's quite a cool image. Okay, this is everything I want to show you about this compilation. Beside an inlay, it also has an inlay here. See, a cool inlay. And here again, for example, you see a Holocaust photo with the swastikas. You know, and also Sarcofago had that in the early days. I mean, all these bands wear stuff like that. Before I end this video, I want to show you a couple more compilations. This is the San Paulo metal, with Centurias and Salario Minimo being their more famous bands on this compilation. They both released some records. The older bands never did, so I don't even have to name them. SP Metal 2 from 1985 with Corsus on here. The first 2 songs ever by Corsus are on this compilation. And also you had 2 songs by Sanctuary on here, and some other bands. Warfare Noise 3 with just unknown bands. Head Thrashers with MX being their most famous band. They released a couple of cool vinyls that I own on vinyl. This from '87. And Metal Brigade Volume 1. And this is quite a cool one with 4 bands. You know, only Megaton made a record later on. But this is quite cool, I think, this release, because it was released by the magazine, Metal Brigade magazine. It came out in those times, you know. I still think it's going, you know, in Brazil. But I'm not sure about it. And maybe Minotauro also released something. I'm not sure about it anymore. But this is quite a cool compilation. And the last thing I want to show you are some bands that influenced Sepultura. You know, because I said to you that Sepultura influenced a lot of young bands to start the same style of thrash death, like Sarcofago, Corsus, CHAKAL, like I showed you before. But some of the bands that influenced Sepultura were also some Brazilian bands, like DORSAL ATLANTICA. Not really the music, maybe, but the image, yes, and the lyrics. This is Volcano, and this is another Volcano record. You see, this is a live one from 1986. But Volcano started already in the early 80s, and they influenced for sure Sepultura and even maybe the other bands that I showed you in this video. Okay, this is everything I want to show you. This is, I think, nothing more. I'm still pissed off, that's why this video is not so much a fun video for me to make at all. I mean, the first one was, but this one, of course, after losing this 10 minutes, I mean, I don't know. Finally, I don't think it worked out as nice as I thought it was going to work out. But anyway, I hope so you still enjoyed it. There's more videos to come. Also, I'm going to make in the future one dedicated only to Brazilian metal, like I did not long ago about Mexican metal, because I own a lot of Brazilian metal. And but this was just about Dissecting Warfare Noise album, like I did with the Metal Massacre Volume 4. I also hope everybody liked. So I hope so you like this video too. And stay heavy!